Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Eagles. Happy birthday to you. Eagles, Eagles. What's up, everyone? Welcome to this day in Philly sports history for July 8th, 2023. And yes, you guessed it, we're going a little out of order today, but today is the Eagles' 90th birthday. So we're going to go right back and start there. Today, we're going to go back to 1933. And on this day, the Eagles franchise was founded. Give you a little brief history. Some of you guys might know this, some of you might not. But back in 1924, there was a franchise in the NFL in Philadelphia, the Frankfurt Yellow Jackets. They joined in 1924. You might remember, I think it was like 2008, 2009 when they wore the blue and yellow jerseys, that September home game. Those were the old Frankfurt Yellow Jackets. They were pretty successful. They won the title in 1926. In 1931, their original stadium burnt down. And then they had to split their time between two other stadiums in Philadelphia, the Baker Bowl and the old Philadelphia Municipal Stadium, which later became known as JFK. For obvious reasons, then, between not having their own home, and that was during the Great Depression, attendance suffered, so they were not making really any money, and they ultimately folded. Enter then Burt Bell and Lud Ray, who were college teammates, businessmen in the area, and they wanted to buy an NFL team. Obviously, the NFL is sitting on this franchise, the Frankfurt Yellow Jackets, that haven't played in a couple years, so they wanted somebody to buy them. And on this day, July 8th, 1933, the NFL granted Bill and Ray the rights to an NFL team in Philly. They named them the Eagles not because of the national symbol of the country, as everybody likes to believe, but because at the time during FDR's Recovery Act to get the country out of the Depression, the National Recovery Administration logo was an eagle. Ray and Bell loved it, so they named their team the Philadelphia Eagles. Ray would go on to become the first coach, and the rest, as they say, is history. So happy birthday, Philadelphia Eagles. Happy 90th. On this day, they were founded way back in 1933. You may have noticed that yesterday, ironically enough, I think it was yesterday, the Eagles released they're wearing a 90th anniversary patch. And to be completely honest, it looks just like their 75th anniversary patch. And basically, they kept the same similar design. I know there was a debate on Twitter, like, should they even be having a 90th patch? Should they wait 10 years for the 100th? But it's still a pretty cool thing. 90 years ago today, the Philadelphia Eagles became an NFL franchise. And again, the rest is history. All right, so let's back up and do a little housekeeping. As I've mentioned before, and I should have mentioned this earlier in the week, there is no Back to the Future this week due to the 4th of July holiday. However, it's not a bad time if you're going to the pool, you're going to the beach. Listen to the latest episode, very apropos still, the Sixers free agency. We discuss the best and worst free agents in Sixers history. If you want more information on the Philly Sports Most Lovable Loser Tournament, I've been getting some questions on that, which I'll go over some of those answers coming up too. The episode before that, I kind of lay it out and release the brackets and explain some of the rationale. Next week, we are going to be focusing on do a little something with a member of the 2008 Phillies team, so stay tuned for that. But be sure to go check out Back to the Future wherever you get your podcasts. It's Back to the Future with a PH. All right. Great win for the Phillies yesterday. 4-3, big ninth inning comeback. Christian Pache hit a pinch hit home run in the ninth, 13th straight road win, tying the record set by that 76 team. And to be honest, this is a very, very likable team too. I know it's one thing. Last year, they kind of grew on us near the end. But for most parts of that season, they weren't a very likable team. We weren't sure what their personality was. And I think you're seeing it with this team. The fact that Marsh comes out and dumps the water, him and Stott. Stott's turning into an amazing, he's going to be a star. But you're starting to see the personality of this team, and they're very, very likable. The fact that Pache all of a sudden is breaking out of his shell, like it's amazing to see. They're having fun, and it makes you want to root for this team. 13 straight, like I said. They have been on fire since June 3rd. They've been the second best team in Major League Baseball since June 3rd and still have lost 3 games because, unfortunately, the hottest team since June 3rd has been the Braves. So they're still 11 games out, but they moved up another game on the Marlins. Like I said, that's our next thing. Let's take out the Marlins, get that first wild card spot, and then we can kind of take a break, breathe, and then focus on what we need to. But again, this team is just so much fun. And that was like a key part of like that '08 team. They were just fun. Like it was just, you just had a blast. Quick bad news, I guess. The update on Andrew Painter, still having some elbow soreness, so he's going to get more tests. Considering his age and just how much potential he has, I can definitely see, and this is again me just speculating, I could see him possibly getting the Tommy John surgery just to get it done and over with, and then come back stronger maybe the end of next year, beginning of the 2025 season. But good win for the Phils. They look to break that the club's consecutive road win record this afternoon down in Florida. Looking forward to it. All right, the Union are in action late tonight against the LA Galaxy. They're starting a tough stretch this week, 3 games, but they're also shorthanded. They have a couple guys playing for the Jamaican national teams, a couple guys out with injuries. So any points they can get in the next 3 games is very, very beneficial for them. And then they're going to be off for a month during I guess to let the guys play in whatever the Mexican La Liga, or I'm sure I'm getting the leagues confused, but to play in the Mexican, there's basically a Mexican league, and they're going to play like a tournament with the MLS teams. But they're in action 10:30 tonight if you're a night owl. Time for our daily As the Harden Turns. I have not heard anything confirmed yet, but it looked like the Jazz were making some moves to try to make a move for B-Ball Paul. I'm not sure if the Sixers are going to match the offer sheet because he is a restricted free agent or not, but that was going on later last night, and I had not heard any updates today. Nothing really on the Harden front. There is a Zach LaVine rumor going around, so I don't know if maybe they're trying to make a move there. But the big thing was Dame Lillard, basically reports are that people inside his camp are saying he will not report to training camp if he's traded to anybody but Miami. Miami apparently made an offer to Portland, which Portland was like, are you kidding me? This is a joke. And then you have Dame Lillard coming out and saying, people think they know this. People think they know everything. So it's better than any reality show, to be honest. But no news on the Harden front. More on that tomorrow. All right, so time to go to our Philly Sports Most Lovable Loser Tournament. But first, if you want to celebrate the Eagles' 90th birthday, why not go to phillygoat.com, pick up some nice new Eagle gear, get ready for the shore, get ready for the season, the pool, whatever you got going on. Go to phillygoat.com, check out their wide selection of Eagle gear. I know I'll be loading up in time for the season myself. Use the promo code Jim Montgomery for 10% off your order. That's phillygoat.com. Make sure it has the authentic goat on the sleeve. All right, so before we get into yesterday's results, just a couple quick things. Again, go to Back to the Future 2 weeks ago episode, and it'll lay out sort of the ground rules and everything for the tournament. But I have been posting updating the brackets on my Facebook. I'm going to update on Instagram as well as my Twitter tomorrow after there are 2 games completed in the first round for each bracket. But everybody's been asking me what the scores are. Those scores are what the percentage of the voting was. So the one day it went into overtime, so it's 50.5 to 49.5. But yesterday we had a matchup between the number 1 seed 2009 Phillies versus the number 8 seed 1964. And just like in real life, the 1964 team just was not able to hang on. The 2009 Phillies, the number 1 seed, are moving on with 71% of the votes. Keep those votes coming because we broke the record yesterday for the amount of people that voted. So again, get your votes in through whatever social media, commenting on the podcast, on YouTube. Send me a text message, smoke signal, Morse code. Don't use carrier pigeon because it won't get here in time. But however you got to get those votes to me, get them to me. It's fun. It helps get me through my day sometimes. I'm like, okay, let's tally up these votes. So be sure to vote. But congrats to the 2009 Phillies, the first number 1 seed in the tournament to move on to the second round. All right, today we're going back to the Sixers regional. And this one should be an interesting one. We got the 4 seed, the 1981-82 Sixers versus the 5 seed, the 2018-19 Sixers. Let's start with the 81-82 team. They were coming off a season where they blew a 3-1 lead in the Eastern Conference Finals to the Celtics. Basically ran back the same team they had been running back for the past couple years. They were either getting to the finals, not able to overtake the Lakers, or just not quite getting there. This year they went 58-24. They were the 3rd seed behind Boston and Milwaukee. Dr. J was an all-star. Bobby Jones and Caldwell Jones were both all defensive first team. Dr. J and Bobby Jones were all-stars for that team. They beat the Hawks 2-0, the Bucks 4-2. Finally beat the Celtics 4-3 up in Boston Garden. That was the year where the Boston fans started chanting "Beat LA, beat LA." And it was super hot that day, but pretty cool to have your rival start cheering for you to beat your other rival. They did get to the finals, lost to the Lakers 4-2, still could not get over that hump. And again, they kept the same team throughout, and finally they realized this isn't working out. And then that's when the following year they finally traded for Moses, and things sort of changed the way they could. All right, let's go to that 2018-19 team. They went 51-31, also the 3rd seed, this time behind Toronto and Milwaukee. That was their 2nd straight year in the playoffs. They came in with high expectations. Joe was coming off his first All-Star game. Ben Simmons was Rookie of the Year back when he was actually a decent player. They picked up Jimmy Buckets, but Jimmy Butler that season. And this was seen almost as the culmination of the project. You're finally getting guys that are quality players that want to come. Embiid did suffer a knee injury in the first round, but like he usually always does, he comes back and is able to overcome that and play well. They beat the Nets 4-1 in the first round and then lost to Toronto in 7 games in the second round. Toronto went on to win the championship. Could that have been the Sixers' year to beat the Warriors? That was the game Kawhi had the 4-bounce shot at the buzzer. So I did play this out on What If Sports. And the 18-19 team dominated. They won 80% of the games. And, I mean, it was shocking to me until I did a breakdown and looked at, like, position by position. Point guard, you had Ben Simmons versus Mo Cheeks. Shooting guard, J.J. Redick versus Andrew Toney. Small forward, Jimmy Butler and Dr. J. Power forward was Tobias Harris and Bobby Jones. Center, Joel Embiid and Caldwell Jones. And ultimately, it came down. It just depended on who wanted to be the star that day. Now, in real life, this didn't necessarily happen because Ben and Jimmy sort of butted heads. But Ben Simmons was a star one day. Joe was a star. Jimmy was a star. So I'm anxious to see what you guys think. Who wins this matchup? First round matchup in the Sixers regional for the Phillies Sports Most Lovable Loser tournament. Remember, the criteria you use is completely on you. What was the level of disappointment? I know some old heads were very disappointed with that 81-82 team because that was like the fourth time they've gotten to the finals in like a 6-7 year period and still didn't lose. I know for guys like me, this was seen as like we had a shot that year, and it was the next step. So this is a great matchup. Let me know what you think. Is it the number 4 seed 81-82 Sixers or the 5 seed 18-19 Sixers? Like I said, get the votes to me however you want. Keep them coming. I know you guys are listening because I can see the analytics. Make sure you get your vote to me and make sure your vote is counted. Whew. Happy birthday to the Philadelphia Eagles. You don't look a day over 80, but they're celebrating 90 years. And maybe the 90th year will be the best year yet. Let's hope the Phils can and break that record and move within a half game of that top wild card spot. Good luck to the Union tonight. Who knows what tomorrow's As the Harden Turns will bring, but this has been This Day in Philly Sports History. Go enjoy yourselves. Have yourselves a Saturday. Enjoy your Saturday. Whatever you got to do. I'm Jim Montgomery, and until next time, I'll see you when I see you.